Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Divine Time. This is your boy, Donley Divine, and welcome to Divine Time, where purpose meets presence and real conversations lead to real transformation. I'm your host, Donley Divine. Here we speak truth, we heal openly, and we grow intentionally. Every episode is rooted in love, guided by spirit, and created to uplift your mind, your heart, and your soul. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, a safe space for the awakens, the healing, and the seekers of truth. So, whether you're here to be inspired, challenged, or seen, you've arrived right on time, divine time. Let's tap in. So, today we're joined by Riana Malia, an identity architect for high achieving women and the creator of the Clear to Create method. Rihanna helps ambitious women clear old emotional patterns, rewire their subconscious, and finally feel safe, seen, and worthy of extraordinary love. Blending neuroscience, emotional repatterning, and quantum healing, she guides those who've done the work but still feel stuck, especially in love, to rewrite their story and clear everything that really needs to happen. With that, I want to bring to the stage Rihanna Malia. Or sorry. Yeah, I said it right, didn't I?
That's perfect.
Okay, I was about to
Absolutely.
say, I was like, wait a minute.
I thought
'Cause
you got you nervous.
yeah, it did. Because at the beginning, when you was going over the proper pronunciation, I was like, oh, dang, did I just say the word that she said not to say that everybody else says? I was like, I practiced this so many times to ruin it at the last part.
No, you did
Oh,
perfect.
man. But hi, how are you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for being here. I'm sorry for the delay, but everything happens in divine time and it worked itself out perfectly. So, with it, I talked a little bit at the beginning about exactly what it is that you do. We talked about your ideal audience as well. With this segment, I want to go ahead and start it off by one, giving you the floor and allowing you to talk about the very beginning of how it all started with you, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, like all of us, we all have a story, right?
Mm
Everything that's happened in our lives brings us to where we are today. And oftentimes we forget when we're thinking about being grateful and being in gratitude, being in a space of gratitude that we're really grateful for the wonderful things. But the truth is, if you're going to be grateful for that, you got to be grateful for it all, because the darkness, the pain, the obstacles, it's all part of the package, right?
Yes.
So growing up, I grew up in Minnesota. I moved to California 12 years ago, but
Okay.
grew up in Minnesota. My mom, single mom, my father was in California, had another family. He wasn't really present, didn't ever help her. Thankfully, I had my incredible Bumpy and Grammy that were my grandparents in southern Minnesota, and I literally grew up in a barn. And so they were kind of that extra built-in like foundation and strength and love and protection.
Mm
But college time came, and my father had actually said, I know that I never helped. I'm going to take care of your room and board freshman year. Okay, great. Super appreciated. 18, went off to college. And I don't know, a month or two in, I think I got a call saying that the bill was never paid and I was maxed on loans
Oh, wait.
and I had to leave. So here I am all by myself, this 18-year-old young lady.
Mm
Like, okay, what do I do? Do I leave school, say, well, that's it? Or do I tap into that part of us that is really resourceful? So I left the dorm. I got 3 jobs. I rented a 5-bedroom house, filled the other 4 bedrooms, and did my thing. Now, it wasn't a super fun college experience like our children are having right now, which I'm so glad that they are. But again, it's part of the story, right? So then I married very young. I don't recommend. 23. And
Okay.
I will say in the Midwest, everybody gets married a bit younger. I'm the youngest of all of my friends here in California because they all had babies later. But married, very lonely. We were too young, but it was a lonely marriage. And so when we had Maddie, she was kind of the miracle child. And then we got divorced when she was 6. And I really thought, it was going to be quite peaceful and painless because neither one of us wanted to, we knew that this staying in the marriage wasn't the right thing. But it quickly turned very volatile and awful. And when you're then dealing with the end of a relationship, whether it's divorce or a significant relationship that's ending, even when you know it's not the right thing, you still mourn and grieve for what you wanted for your life, for your family, for what you intended. And so on the other side of that, dealing with having to have Maddie away from me some of the times, and, moving into this little farmhouse in Afton, Minnesota, with the horses and the chickens, and raising Maddie and working full time. And it was a lot. And I'm an island girl. So when that last winter and it was 40 below zero, like multiple days, and I had to run a hose into the house to the washing machine to water the horses, it was kind of my breaking point anyway. But it was also around that time, it had been about 3 years out of my divorce, and Maddie was 9, and my father came to visit, and he's like, listen, I think this is the perfect time for you to move to California. And, he's like, we have this capital now, this family business, we have this inheritance, come and take over and, make it yours. And every part of me was screaming, like, no. I mean, it wasn't even red flags. It was like a billboard in Times Square, like, this is not the thing. This is not the move. Did I listen? No, I didn't listen, because I desperately wanted this idea of family. And but I said to my dad, I'm like, listen, my mom just had a surgery. They'd been divorced since I was 2.
Wow.
So it's not like there was a ton of like animosity anymore. But I said, my mom had a surgery. They nicked a nerve. She can't work. So, I have my mom, Maddie, obviously, 2 horses, 3 cats. And he's like, bring them all. I'll build you a barn. We'll take care of your mom. So I had this fantasy of like moving to this beautiful town in Marin County at the base of Mount Tam. And Maddie was going to get to grow up here and go to the beach every weekend. And I was going to be able to breathe. So against all reason, and my best girlfriends, who were like my chosen sisters, we've been best friends since we were 9, they're pleading with me not to do this. And I did it anyway. And at the first few months of being here, it was magical, right? With the family and the horses and the business. And I had a feeling that something was off, but I couldn't really decide if that was true or if it was just me being super hypersensitive to the situation.
Okay.
6 months in, we were getting ready for holiday, and I heard some noises in the front of the studio, and all of a sudden I am surrounded by federal agents, guns drawn, pointed to my head, put in handcuffs.
Well,
now,
damn.
My baby girl is about to be home from school. My mom went to get her and took her to frozen yogurt with a new little friend for the first time. And here I am in the most terrifying experience of my life. Very, very long story. I won't get into all the details. It's not really relevant, but there was clearly illegal things happening inside of this family business that obviously I was not aware of. So now I don't know anybody here. I now have no source of income. I am not really, I'm in that moment where I'm like, I don't even know how to get through this. I don't even know what through this looks like. And there was a lot of shame for me and a lot of fear and frankly, vacillating between sadness and such a huge betrayal to rage of like, who does this? But I had to make a decision, because when I moved us to California, I made a promise to my child. I told Maddie, I will only disrupt your life once, because I moved around a lot as a child, and it's not a great feeling, right? You don't have that sense of like calmness where you just get to be a kid and you're not worried and you're not feeling unsettled or uncertain. So I had to make a decision. Either we go back to Minnesota, which we totally could have, or I keep my promise and break that generational lack of integrity throughout my family lines and figure it out. So we stayed in California. Several $100,000 of credit card debt later. But in that process, honestly,
another one.
It was in that process and the aftermath of that was really like the pinnacle to what became my life's work. Because after that huge betrayal and for 2 years, every noise I heard, I thought for sure they were coming to get me. And so I was back in therapy and, talking about it. And just like with anything, right? When we have trauma or we go through something, we do what we're told to do. We talk about it in therapy. We talk about it with our friends. We read the books. We write the journals. We do the things. All of that, don't get me wrong, it's all beneficial, but it doesn't heal you. And it just, after a certain amount of time, that therapeutic loop keeps you stuck in the story. Because there's a huge distinction between standing in our story and on it. And when you're in it and you're just reliving it, that's all you're going to continue to get. So I didn't want to live that life. I didn't want to be sad and rageful and stuck, because the truth is you can't be in that and live your very best life, right? So it was during that process where I went, you know what, this isn't actually working. And if I want to be present, if I want to be happy, if I want to be the best mama, if I want to go out and have impact in the world, I can't be just reliving the drama and the pain and the trauma over and over again. So it was during that time where I found some work similar to the work that I do, and in a matter of weeks, there was literally parts of me I didn't recognize in all the best way, which then became my deep dive into creating my methodologies, my frameworks, my IP, and now have used this process not only with myself, but with hundreds of women. And next month, I will be celebrating 2 years being married to the love of my life, which I never thought would happen to me, because I was certain I was inherently broken. I was too much, not enough, all of the above, right? So I've done the work. I have an incredible marriage to the most loving, generous, kind, supportive, fantastic man. I have a heart-led business that I get to change lives of not only my clients, but everyone in their world. And I get to live a life that I don't, die to go on vacation from. So I feel like I'm pretty grateful for all of it.
That is beautiful. So, one, congratulations on the 2 years.
Thank you.
Yo, big up, big up. I mean, that's a major step, because I know for me, I had married young. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had married young, and when you don't truly know yourself, it's very difficult to give somebody else what they deserve when you don't even know your own worth at that time.
Absolutely.
But you said that you were working 3 jobs. How old were you at that time?
18.
All right, let me ask this. You said you're an island girl. Where you? What island? Where are you from?
I was born on Maui.
Oahu, 96706, Eva Beach.
All right.
That's what's up.
I love that. So all my spiritual DNA is in that island.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite place to be is on the beach, in the ocean. My daughter's the same way. So my name, Riana Malia,
Yes,
comes from when my mom was pregnant with me in Maui. She met this beautiful Polynesian woman in her 80s, and her name was Riana. And my mom was like, can I name my daughter after you?
Yeah.
And she was like, yes, of course. And then Malia is the Polynesian word for Mary, which is my mom and my Grammy. And so I named Maddie, Madison Malia as well. So we share that. But
that's
yes,
cute.
so all the island DNA, all the island magic. In fact, I'm turning 50 in January, and we will be on Maui when I turn 50.
Yes. Is this going to be your husband's first time going to the island?
No.
It's not?
He loves Maui. So we've been 3 or 4 times together these last few years. So we've been together now 5 years, married for 2.
Okay.
Or maybe it's 6 years, married for 2. Because we met our children. Maddie was a sophomore in high school. His youngest was the same age, Luke. So we got them, through high school, and took it very slow in the sense that for both of us, I think, which is why when we met, it was so magical, because our kids were our priorities, and it wasn't chasing a million relationships.
That is good. That is good. So dealing with the early marriage, what would you say was the biggest? What would you say was the biggest complication?
I think it was a lot of things. I think number one, you nailed it when you said you don't really know who you are, right? At that age, you don't know who you are, and you don't know who you aren't, and that comes with age and experience and wisdom. And I was certain at 23 that I was going to be like an old cat lady by myself.
Hi, angels.
It was a really good idea to get married.
Yes.
What was the biggest thing? There was a lot. We were very different, and I'm super ambitious, and I want what I want. And so my philosophy is always like, I will work super hard and I'll just go make some more money because I want to go to Maui, not to Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's cold. I'm an island boy myself, and I'm like,
Right? And
I don't
nothing
do
wrong
well
with
with the cold temperatures.
Wisconsin. Nothing wrong with Wisconsin. But my whole thing was like, we never know.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is never promised. And
Facts.
I'm never going to be one that says, oh, we'll wait till retirement and we'll go live life. No, thank you. Like, I'm all about playing full out, living, playing, loving, and doing the things that I want to do because you never know. You never know. And you can always make more money. You can't make more time.
Yeah, you'll never be able to get that time back. And that's something that I say all the time. I'm like, look, you can spend all your life chasing money, wasting your health. And now when you're older, you're wasting all that money trying to get back your health.
Yeah. And so, that's, and I don't want to jump ahead on, let me answer your question. There was a lot of concern prior, even before we got married, where I was like, there's something wrong. But again, I was so certain that nobody else is going to love me. And, why I thought that, I have no idea. But those are the stories and those are the things and, evidence and stuff from growing up. And, and you just have these things internally. There was, lack of intimacy. I couldn't figure out why. There was lonely. And Maddie was a miracle when I say that to you. I don't know how candid I can be, but literally we had sex. I got pregnant. I had a miscarriage. 2 years later, we were together again. Got pregnant with Maddie. Had her. We were never together again. But so she was destined to come to this earth and be my baby angel. So after that, it was interesting because he is a lot like my father, which he hated to hear because he didn't like my dad. But that's what he did, is he went from family to family to family and just kept doing this interesting pattern. Pattern for me, like, we attract. It's most of my clients will come to me and say, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I keep dating or marrying the same person over
Law of attraction.
And over again. And I said, well, there's a very specific reason for that. And there's a very fast way in less than 72 hours that we're going to fix that.
Ooh.
So that's some magic. So my core values in my life and in my business are love, generosity, impact, belief in what's possible, and being a magnet for miracles. And being a magnet for miracles is my favorite thing to teach people how to do. And it's incredible how quickly your whole physical world can change when you shift the focus.
So I love the fact that you said that. Are you familiar with the 12 universal laws?
I don't know all of them, but I
heard of them.
A lot. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, because listening.
I teach a lot of the laws.
Okay, yeah, because I don't want to get ahead of myself, but yeah, you got the quantum pattern protocol. But yes, dope. Let's dial it back down a little bit to the PTSD. We're gonna bring it back down. I'm an 8-year Marine veteran. I have PTSD from that and things outside the military as well. I had gone through quite a few things in my life. Just like how you said, there was patterns. I didn't recognize those patterns mainly because of the fact that I had no idea what I was even looking at until it reached a point to where I was able to see, like, okay, these types of things have been happening before. So I was like, oh, there must be something wrong with me. I'm the least common denominator. But then looking at it, I was like, wait a minute. Every single time I end up feeling the same way. Why do I end up feeling this way? To understand exactly the patterns that these women had and the way that they were acting and how everybody was always against them. But then I started really analyzing and paying attention and being like, wait a minute, you're leaving out a lot of bits of the stories where you make it seem like everybody's against you, but you don't talk about what it is that you're doing. Now, this is not my time, but I love the fact that you said how when you're going through therapy, it's like you kind of get stuck in that trauma because they want you to talk about it. They want you to do this. So now your amygdala is going to constantly get you to keep thinking about that, and you're going to be not reliving it, but those feelings and emotions will keep coming up because every time you think about it, you have to, unless you are able to disassociate yourself from the situation, if you're able to remove that emotion and just think about it, which in the beginning, a lot of people are not able to do. I can understand how they say like, "Hey, it's only going to get better. It's going to get harder before it gets better." Because as you talk about it, you're still going to get that anger or whatever emotion is attached to that situation. As time goes on, it's almost like you reach a point where you're like, "Okay, yeah, this shit happened. I
Yeah.
can't get over that it happened." But how do you work towards the healing? Because if you just keep talking about it, you're going to keep feeling upset about it, depending on what the situation is, or sad about
1,000%.
it.
1,000%.
So my question to you is, what would you recommend somebody to help them get out of being stuck in that trauma bonds with the situation?
Great question. Before I answer it, I want to talk about, because I think this is an important distinction between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. Okay? So let's think about our body. Everything from the neck up is our conscious mind. It's our critical faculties. It's everything we know. It makes us successful. It's our goal setter. We use it all day long. It's 10%.
Okay.
Which means everything from the neck down, the rest of our body, the other 90% is our unconscious mind. So if the conscious is our goal setter, the unconscious is the goal getter. It's the operating system. It's the general. But most importantly, it is the literal library of everything you've ever experienced during your entire life. Everything that's been said to you, everything you've said to someone else, everything you've experienced, everything you felt, the good, the bad, the hard, all of it. And it's stored at a cellular level. So people think about memory in the brain, which of course it lives in the circuitry. But we know, because of science, that memory is cellular, right? We see it in generational stuff. People talk about, their grandmother did this and their mother did this and they did it. It's like that stuff in the DNA, it's thing, legit. We see it in animals.
Another one.
Right? Animals that have never had a certain experience with something, but, like horses or even mice, and they have a fear about something that they've never experienced because it's cellular memory. And we see it when people get an organ. Maybe you couldn't stand pickles their entire life, and then now they crave them with everything, and they're like, what is happening? And they find out the person's heart that they got, that was their favorite food, for instance. So the reason that is important is because every single day, we think between 65,000 and 85,000 thoughts. 90% of those thoughts are recycled. Okay, they're the same thoughts we thought yesterday and the day before and the week before. In the middle of the night when it's 3:33 and we're staring at the clock, running through all the scenarios and all the what ifs and all the la 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 la. And the problem with that is 75% of those thoughts are negative. And I get a lot of pushback on this because my clients are heart-led, they're ambitious, they're bright, they're emotionally intelligent. They're like, nope, good. I'm good on my mindset. Like, I am clear. I am never doing that again. I am not allowing that. But here's the issue. The unconscious mind and the universe doesn't hear the qualifiers. So if it sounds something like, I don't ever want to be in a relationship again where I don't feel safe, that I can't trust them. I don't want to be in a relationship again where I'm not valued and cherished. I don't want to be where I'm having to take care of everyone else. I want to be able to take care of each other. I don't want to be in this job that I hate. I don't want to have this extra perimenopause tummy and aches and pains. And I don't want to be in this debt. And I don't want.
Yes.
See, the problem there is it's like when we give our car and we jump in the car and we throw an address in the nav system. And we're like, great, here's the directions. Here's where we're going. Take me there. Well, when all we're talking about is everything we don't want, that's the nav system in our brain, the unconscious mind. It doesn't hear the don't. It's just like, okay, got it. That's what we're focused on. That's what I'm going to continue to give you. So when people are finding themselves in these same relationships or same money issues or same health issues or friendship dynamics, or they, every job they go to, they have horrible relationship with their boss. It's not a mystery. So what do you do about that? There's a couple of things. From a clearing standpoint, if you think about a piece of ribbon, or if you grew up in a horse barn like me, you could think about a piece of twine off a bale of hay, whatever suits your fancy. But there's a piece of ribbon or a piece of leather, whatever, and for every negative emotion. And when we do something called quantum time release in my practice, we release in a particular order: anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame. And then all the limiting beliefs and limiting decisions that have come as a result of the trauma, the loss, the betrayal, all the things.
Yes.
And but we do it in a painless, peaceful way. We're not going back into any conscious memory of anything that's happened to you. So,
Okay.
but if you think about those ribbons, every single time in your life that you've had a significant emotional experience with anger, a marble goes on that ribbon. Sadness, a marble, guilt, shame, fear. And something happens today that makes you angry. It's not even so much the today, it's the 30, 40, 50, 60 years of marbles. And when we can clear the marbles, that's the energetic weight that's being held in your body right now at a cellular level. And when we can release that, because when we don't release it properly, we see things like overwhelm, anxiety, depression, autoimmune disorders, illness, injury, disease, all these things manifest in the physical. Dis-ease, right? So to release that, to then be able to be open to and be freed up to receive what's meant for us and the things that are meant for us and our what's next. So I did something a couple of weeks ago that gave me so much joy, and I think I posted about it on socials, but my pantry was a freaking disaster. And I love organization. It's like Christmas to me.
Oh gosh.
I also am perimenopausal and ADD, which, it's like all of a sudden there's piles of stuff. I look around my office and there's stuff, and I hate the clutter, but it happens. So it had been a minute since I cleaned my pantry. I took everything out. It was all over the kitchen. I cleaned the shelves. I cleaned the floor. I threw away expired cans of soup and half-open boxes of orzo and pasta, and I threw all that stuff away. And then my pantry was so clean and organized. It made me so happy. But it's the same with our thinking and our operating systems. We got to throw out the expired ways of thinking and the old identities and all the old story. And, or like I'm not a big like shoes and purses girl, but I do love my clothes. But like if I look at my closet and it's stuffed full, but it's full of stuff I don't wear, there's no room for something new, right? Same. So there's a process, when I mentioned earlier, that we can actually rewire the way of new neurology in 72 hours using the fear to focus flip framework.
You are just going down the line of the questions I have. I'm like, I didn't even have to ask them.
Okay, so being a magnet for miracles starts with the shift. So if you imagine your physical life is a cake, right? And if we bake a cake and it doesn't taste very good, how are we going to bake a better cake?
For me, I like to cook. I don't bake, but if I had cooked something and I didn't like the way that it tastes, I would ultimately think, all right, what is giving it the taste that I feel is not balancing out? All right.
Another one.
On the next time, I would end up using less of that ingredient, or I would add more of something else to balance it out.
Amazing. So we look at the ingredients, we adjust them accordingly. So all of us as humans are governed by 4 states: physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional.
Okay.
So if we look at our physical, which is everything in our physical reality, everything we can touch, hear, taste, smell, feel, whatever I missed, you know what I'm saying. So all of that. And so what I would say to you is, all right, let's look at what's not working in your life right now in the physical. Like what could or should be working better? Is your car a mess? Is your dog need grooming? Are you in debt? Are you unhappy in your relationship? Like whatever it is, write it all down. Okay, great. Now, if we're going to adjust the ingredients to a cake, which is the physical, we have to adjust what's going on emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And honestly, all of that starts with our thoughts. So here's the game if you want to play. We are going to make 2 lists. To take 2 pieces of paper. On the top of one, you're going to write away, and the other you're going to write toward. Now, imagine you're in a room and it has 4 walls, and one of those walls is your away wall. And your away wall is everything you don't want. So for you, would that be to your left, to your right, in front of you, behind you?
For me, that would probably be to my right, since that's the furthest away.
Okay, so for you, your away wall is to your right. And so you would make a list of everything you don't want. You don't want ever, you don't want more of, you don't want again, all of it.
Okay.
So if your away wall for you is to your right, then your toward wall, which is everything you want, is where?
On my
To your
left, right? When
I
I'm
can't
not
see.
sure if you hear me thumping it. I'm like, it's the closest one to me. I want to reach out and touch it.
Okay, love it. So on your toward wall list, we are talking magic wand, fairy dust, all the wishes, all the dreams, all the hopes, all the goals, all the desires, everything you want for yourself, your life, your relationships, your future, your health, your money, all of it. Right down to like if you want to go to, the Spear and see Kenny Chesney with me again next summer, whatever it is. So all of that goes on the toward wall list. And then here's how we play.
Touched by the Divine says.
Every single
5:51 join the Discord Warriors of Love Gaming
you're gonna
link.
wear a rubber band, and it's got to not be like a scrunchy one. It's got to be an office one, so it hurts like a son of a gun if you snap it, because we need the pattern interrupt in the brain. Every time you find yourself feeling either in the moment where you can tell you're kind of spiraling, or you're in that low vibe, low frequency, low energy yuck, or if you don't even catch it during the time because it's just so conditioned, but you might feel in your body, you might feel anxious, you might feel like pit in your stomach, your heart might be racing. I want you to snap the rubber band, and I want you to ask yourself, what was I just thinking about? I promise you 99.9% of the time it's going to be something on the away wall, something that you don't want. And what is, like, in order to create new neurology and new neural pathways, how does this all work together? Well, we don't get what we want, we get who we are, right? We talked about that a little bit. So
yes,
in relationships, let's talk about frequency, right? And so what's your favorite music?
Soca.
Tell me again.
Soca. It's a West Indian genre of music.
Amazing. And what is a genre of music you absolutely cannot stand?
Bluegrass.
Okay, awesome. So I want you to imagine for 1 second, everything you want, all of your dreams, everything you want in life is on Sirius XM 111.
Okay.
Like Soca, all day, all day,
Take
24 hours a day.
Easy, I will do the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, right now, however, you're stuck on Sirius XM 99.5, which is bluegrass all the day, all the time, and you can't even turn it off or down.
That was about to be my question. Can I turn it off?
You cannot turn it off. You are here. But here's the thing. Can you
Touched by the Divine
to
says.
Soca on the bluegrass
5:53 check me out everywhere link Divinum podcast.
No, you can't, because they're on two different frequencies. You have to change the channel so that you can be up here on channel 111 where you're vibing with Soca. Because that's where everything you want in life is. So this process,
welcome in, Ash,
with replacing the thought, either with a better feeling thought, with something you're grateful for, something on your toward wall that if you can close your eyes and imagine what it feels like, what do you see, what do you hear, what do you feel, what do you taste, experiencing that as though it is, because the brain doesn't know the difference. And if you're still stuck in it, I want you to ask yourself, who in this moment can I serve? And it doesn't have to be a big gesture. It can literally be an intention, a prayer, a text to a friend saying, love you. It can be, your neighbor's trash can is knocked over because it was windy and you pick it up for them. Something in service of someone else outside of your own mess. Now,
acts of service and selflessness.
What happens in 72 hours?
Hey.
You're going to be, I'll have my clients check in with me and I'll get photos of like welts. Sometimes at the beginning, you don't even have the awareness because you've been operating unconsciously for so long that
another one
things you don't to even recognize it. But then what happens is you'll recognize it quicker. So maybe instead of your whole day being in this yucky energy, maybe it's a few hours, and then you start to realize it quicker. And then
it is an interesting conversation,
right? And then it's not about that. I mean, we're humans. This stuff is going to keep coming up. It's not like it's never going to happen again. The point is you pull yourself out of it in minutes or seconds.
Yes.
Because 17 seconds is all it takes if you're holding a thought with emotion to enforce neural pathways.
Okay.
So if you're in that dark place and you're like, oh, I'm just, this always happens to me. I can't believe I'm here again. 17 seconds. That's the nav system. You are reinforcing the directions. But when you can recognize it,
Redirecting.
snap the rubber band, pull yourself out of it, replace it with a better feeling thought, even if it's by one level, right? If you're feeling rageful, then you can jump
Rerouting.
right? And that is how, my friend, in 72 hours, we rewire the brain and you become a magnet for miracles and things start showing up differently.
See, I love that, because the question I had for you was, your clear to create method emphasizes that we can't build the love or life we want while holding on to outdated stories or unresolved pain. How do you help women create that emotional spaciousness to actually step into alignment? You just gave a big, big cheat code and a part of what you do to help. So that's why I was just like, I ain't even got to ask the question. And then you decided to go into the quantum pattern protocol, which was my next question, which is about clearing subconsciousness wiring at the root. And I wanted you to walk us through what that looks like in practice. Slap, and how it differs from traditional therapy or coaching. I'm like, you're one step ahead of me. Now, with it, I want to go ahead and say to everybody who is listening, how you doing, Brown Girl Travels, and Ash, your fave. This woman right here specializes in speaking with women. So if y'all have any questions, women, by all means, go ahead and type it, and I'll ask her for you, okay?
I mean, the boys can ask the questions too.
Yeah.
Private work for me is only with women. But
yeah, I mean, guys, if you have questions too, I'm not limiting it to just women, but she helps women, so she can speak to y'all on that level, because you're her primary clientele. Men.
I'm gonna turn the fan on.
So with it, my next question is, many of your clients are high achieving women who've done the work, but still feel stuck in love. What's the hidden block you most often see, and how do your methods help them in finally breaking free?
So when you're an ambitious, high-achieving woman who's also heart-led, you're so used to we have the structure and the SOPs and the methodology. We know how to go get this next job or figure out the thing. And finding love is not the same process. It's not about performance.
Yes.
It's not about doing more and being more. It's about actually figuring out who the heck you are and what you really want. So the process itself is the methodology.
Yes.
What it's all based on is, my tagline has always been, your very best life. Whether we have been best friends for 40 years or we met 15 minutes ago in the coffee line, I want you to live your version of your very best life.
I see that right behind you too. Clear to create your very best life.
Nice logo. So, but the truth is we talked about this before. You can't go from being held back by all the stuff to living your very best life. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to clear first, right? We have to clear the story to create the life.
Yes.
You want a different story? Quit telling the old one.
Ooh, and that right there ties back to the PTSD, stuck in the trauma.
Right? We have to clear the cycles to create the confidence. 90% of my clients who come to me, they're like, I don't know. I don't know how to trust myself. I thought I knew. Look how that turned out, right? Me not trusting myself, me going against all the stuff that I knew, moving to California, which, thank God I did. But you have to clear the cycles to create that confidence, to be able to actually trust yourself again. Okay. You have to clear the patterns to create the partnerships. We all want aligned, loving partnerships.
Ashy Hour Bob says,
professionally, with
5:59
with our friends in the world.
Ashy
Hour Bob
says,
our old BS, all the
5:59 interesting conversion.
Partnerships. We get more
touched
of the
by
same.
the divine says,
we get more of the
5:59 high. Ashy Hour 5.
We have to clear the resentment
yes.
to create the results, right? So many high achieving people, women largely that I work with, they almost get what they want and they never do.
The almost not good enough. That sucks.
And we have to clear the loss to create the love. But the first piece of this in the clearing, so it's that whole first phase is all around clarity and then dysfunction detox and then discovering. But the clarity piece is where it all begins, because before we can clear, we have to get crystal clear.
Yes.
And it's kind of like if we went to a restaurant and we walked in and we said, I'd love a beverage, a protein, a side, and a salad. Okay, great. And they bring us a sparkling water, a piece of roasted chicken, some carrots, and a Caesar salad. we got exactly what we ordered.
Yes.
What we wanted was a glass of Chardonnay, a beautiful piece of salmon, some roasted asparagus, and an arugula salad with fresh figs and goat cheese, please. Do you see the difference?
Yes. One is specific.
Another one.
It's the same thing of having SMART goals.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that you brought that up. So how do we do this? The clarity is really about grounding yourself in deep self-awareness, right? And identifying where you are and what you really want and where you've been unconsciously operating from up until now.
Yes.
Then we get to do a dysfunction detox and get rid of all the stuff that's no longer serving you. So quantum time release, we spoke about that. Getting rid of, blowing out the old strategy and neurology and behavior and stories that we have, been running the show. Because 90% of who we are right now, we picked up between 0 and 7. So when 5-year-old baby Riana made a decision that I have to be this in order to be loved, or I have to not be this in order to be heard. Hello, do we let 5-year-olds make our decisions now? Well, no. But guess what? Guess what's running the show? So then we actually get to reclaim our essence, right? We get to actually figure out who you are, but separating your true self from all the noise of conditioning and trauma and old stories. So we get to really begin to meet the real you. And then we move into the next phase, which is the create phase. So activation, where this is all about sparking that shift and really beginning to embody new beliefs and possibilities and the energetic patterns that align with who you're becoming.
Welcome in, Anika.
And then we move into habits. So remember how we're going to blow out all that old strategy, neurology, and behavior?
Yes.
Well, what happens if we don't replace it? Which, in my opinion, is the problem with 90% of therapy and coaching in the world. Super heavy on clarity and awareness. Obviously, that's amazing. It's the first step for transformation. But when you don't replace it with the skills to go with the knowledge, the unconscious mind can't fill in the blank. So how many times do you hear people say, I've been in therapy for years and I make progress, and then all of a sudden, bam, right back to where I started.
Yeah.
Your unconscious mind can't fill in the blank. You didn't give it something else, so it goes back to what it knows, all the old dysfunction. So since we blew all of that out, we actually have to replace it with new neurology, new behavior, new strategy. And then we actually move into goals. And you talked about SMART goals. I love that. In my world, they're smarter goals. We add energy and emotion and reverse engineering and reticular activating system ignition. So we then take all of those things that we figured out, what you want, got rid of all the stuff that you don't want. Now we're clear. Well, how the hell do we get it? So now we're going to drop in another framework called the Aligned Achievement Framework, which is my quantum goal setting process. And we're going to reverse engineer those goals from the moment we're going to start when it happens, all the way back to. And so let's say the goal is on December 31st, 2025 or sooner, I'm celebrating booking a trip to Italy, whatever it is. Okay, great. So what has to happen in the second before you achieve that? How do you know you're there?
Oh,
Maybe it's I literally got the confirmation that my flight was booked, or the travel agent sent me my confirmation that my villa on the coast of Italy was booked and my flights are all ready and we're good to go. Okay, so that's the moment that we then create a movie about and we install on your future timeline. But before we do that,
when you say create a movie, like an actual movie, like
a mental movie.
Oh, okay. So it's almost like a vision board type deal.
So like in that situation, I would have you experience, like I want you to get a picture of it. Do you have a picture of that moment where you get a text or an email or whatever, and it says the villa's booked, right? So then you step into that and you make it, you hear what you hear and see what you see, and you make it the perfect pitch and color and tonality, and you make it a movie, and then you make it a picture, and then you step back out of it and you put it in the most beautiful frame ever. And then we install that on your future timeline because we've done timeline work now because of quantum time release. And then what happens is that ignites the reticular activating system in the brain to be laser focused, looking for the people, the resources, the opportunities, the experiences that you need to recognize in order to make all that happen. But when we micro step backwards, because when we set goals and we do it the typical way,
just write it down.
Today, I'm going to write it down. This is okay. Here's all the things I have to do. Awesome. Except we missed like 80% of the steps. So when the question is, what has to happen just before that? And what has to happen just before that? we don't miss any steps. So now when life comes at you, because it will, and you're stressed or you're overwhelmed or you're spinning and you're like, I don't even know what my name is, let alone what I'm supposed to do next. You literally have that whole blueprint. And then that moves us into our final phase, which is claiming, right? So we've cleared, we've created, and now we get to own and integrate and embody.
Okay.
So when you get to stand in this new identity and really own it, and you let go of needing any external permission to claim your power and your truth and your transformation. And this is really that place where you kind of get to fall in love with yourself again, and you get to trust yourself, and you get to confidently hold boundaries and expertly communicate your needs and really deepen the richness in every single one of your relationships, and integrating that, aligning your environment, your energy, your decisions with the person that you've become, so that you get to then embody that and live from it and lead from it and love from it, and, you know, just magnetize with grace.
That is beautiful. I mean, you had me captured. I was sitting here. I was like, hey, and then, and then, oh man.
So that's the how. That's what we do together in this work.
So let me ask you this: how? Because I mean, for every blueprint, there had to be
another
a
one.
plan of execution. So while you were coming up with all this, what was happening in your life that was making you think of these things, and then to where I imagine you were applying it to yourself first? You were the guinea pig to really figure out how all this will work. What was the situation that caused you to revamp this strategy to be able to work the way that it does now?
So the initial piece of this methodology came first, and then the framework, which is the quantum pattern protocol. And then what I did is, for each one of those sections, those 9 sections, I actually created a framework for each one, so that there's structure and there's, you know, this mix of like neuroscience and, you know, reworking the nervous system and the and mixed with a little bit of woo in the quantum world, and a lot of love, and, you know, some very expert level coaching. But each one of those pieces has a framework, right? The aligned attraction blueprint, where we do your values elicitation and your non-negotiables and your desires. That came from understanding how important that is and the specificity. And again, I'm the guinea pig. Years ago, after we moved to California, and I got into a relationship that was horrible, because again, I was certain no one was ever going to love me. Still had that story going on. And I just remember trying to get out of it. And it just was so present for me and so clear what I never wanted to experience again. So I kind of took this book and with fancy gel pens, and I wrote this huge list of what my...
Were they multicolored?
Yes. Some glitter, because I'm a sparkle girl.
Oh, gosh.
So I wrote this list of like the things that I wanted in my dream partner. From the big things, like, you know, have to be really loving, have to be a dad, because you have to know what it's like to love a child, because there's no love like my love for Maddie. But also your kids can't be younger than her, because I want to go to the beach when they're in college. And so I had all these things, but, you know, from big things to like little things, like, you know.
Ooh, we got a question.
Dark hair or bald, because I've never been attracted to a blonde or redhead. You know, like, so the big things that are really important, and then the smaller things that are like the desires. I threw it in a drawer, forgot all about it. So about 6 months after we got engaged, I found that list. There's 40 things on that list. My husband is 37 of them.
Oh, wow. You said there's how many on that list?
Like 40 things.
Cheese and bread. That's manifestation at its finest right there.
Yes, but all the manifesting, all the affirmations, all the vision boards you can, you know, to death, aren't going to give you that unless you change the internal, unless you tap into the unconscious and clear all the stuff that's keeping you from actually pulling in the things you want.
Okay. So we have a question. Ash is asking, what is your advice for recreation of self? How do we cut ties with family that will take you back? I'm not sure if she meant that will not take you back. No, I guess it is that will take you back
to the dark side. So that's a great question. So you remember my story about my father and the massive betrayal and ending up in handcuffs?
I do. I'm not sure if she was in here for that.
Okay, she can listen to the replay. Guess what?
That part.
I fully have forgiven Michael. That doesn't mean he gets a seat at the table. He doesn't get access to me. I haven't spoken to him in years. But I don't carry the pain, the rage. It's not mine to carry. It's that whole piece of, I'm going to drink the poison and really hope that you die, right? That's not how it works. And alchemical forgiveness is about taking back our power, our presence, our peace, and not letting that person or that situation have control over our thoughts, behaviors, feelings, and emotions. That's what alchemical forgiveness does. So to answer your question, Ash, how do you disconnect? You disconnect, but I want you to forgive. Not because anything they did was okay, not because we're justifying any behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And forgiving them isn't about them. It's, Ash, it's you getting to take back your life, your future, your peace, your joy, your ability to be present. Because when you're holding on and you're in the story, you can never move forward. You can never get what you want. You're just stuck, because when we talked about before, the reliving and the rehashing, it actually does from a physiological, biological standpoint, cellular level, you relive it. Your body relives it every time you tell the story or you're in the story and your heart is racing and you're so mad, you're so upset. Your body's like, okay, got it. We're reinforcing these neural pathways. So how do you take back yourself and not let them pull you back? You learn how to hold boundaries, and you learn how to release those people by forgiving them. But that's for you.
Does that answer your question, Ash? Yeah. Man, I'm trying to remember what my big bro Impossible said. Because we had covered an episode once before about forgiveness, and I can forgive but never forget, because
Another
you
one.
always need to make sure that you learn that lesson. If you forget, there's a high chance that you may end up repeating that pattern.
Yes, and I would invite you to consider that when you're focused on what you do want instead of what you don't, you're not going to repeat that pattern.
Just like how you stated with the subconscious and the conscious. And the way that I remember that is because when you were saying it, everything above the head. So then,
neck up, baby, neck up.
In my head, I was sitting here. I was like, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. I'm a little animated. I, Lord forgive me, Lord forgive me, Lord forgive me. But it is who I am, and I find a comedic way to remember things, and it helps me.
Yeah, I love that.
So, but that I love that, because I realize that a lot of people who are constantly speaking about the things that have the bad things that have happened to them, I realized that they keep having bad things happen to them. And I had reached a point to where it was like, okay, cool. I'm here to listen, but at the same time, I'm not going to be that emotional enabler for you, because just because I'm here to listen, now you're draining me. But also at the same time, you're not trying to change anything. So why am I going to enable you to keep living this life of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, hoping for a different result, when in all honesty, it seems as if you are operating in a mode that you enjoy?
Well, there's some secondary gain there and some payoff for sure. They get to be the martyr, right? We all know the people in our life, they're like, nothing ever goes right for me. They go get a haircut, they hate it. They're like,
good question.
Never
I'll ask when she's done.
There's never a parking spot. This stuff always happens to me. And I'm like, yeah, and it always will, because that's the instructions you're giving the universe and your nav system, is that this is the truth. This is who I am and how my life works. Okay, got it. Here you go.
So Ash said, yes, that answers the question. And then she said, is it okay to cut them off then if you have forgiven, but they are not changing behaviors?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like I said, they don't get a seat at the table, Ash. That forgiving them does not give them access to you. That's up to you. you can forgive people who are dead. You can forgive people who are across the country. You can forgive people down the street. Doesn't mean any of them get access to you. You get to decide who gets to be in your life. And I would say that, honestly, being able to make values-driven decisions and looking at your non-negotiables and your desires, whether we're talking about romantic love or family or friends or business partners, in a matter of seconds, you can look at that one thing that we create together inside of the aligned attraction framework and know if this person even gets a shot at getting to be in your world, whether that's a family member, a potential spouse, whatever. And when we make values-driven decisions, we get to have a clean yes and a clean no, which keeps us out of the middle, which is the devil, which is where all the drama and the noise and the decision fatigue comes from, because we're like, I don't know. So I'm just not going to do anything, or I'm going to do something the same that I always do. And then I'm just so exhausted because I don't know if it's the right thing or the wrong thing. And should I say yes or should I say no? And maybe it's not a red flag and maybe it is. Forget it. I'm doing nothing. I'm just going to stay in this place of meh. That's what happens when we don't make values-driven decisions.
I'm glad. She said wonderful. Yes, you have answered my question. Dope. Respect. So with it, the way that I like to end the episode is I always ask 2 final questions. The first one is always, what do you want to say to any listeners?
Just because it's always been doesn't mean it has to continue to be.
Oh, short and sweet. Damn. Hit hard too. Just because it's always been doesn't mean it has to be. It always has
Literally,
to be.
we can change that in a moment. So many people get stuck in like identity traps or, but this is who I've always been. And what if I change my mind? And what are people going to think? Who cares? Like, this is your life. Between now and dead, live it.
Mm-hmm.
And, we get to change our mind. It's called growth and transformation and evolving. And, I said something yesterday. For 15 years, I've had a French manicure on my nails, literally. I haven't had color on my nails in 15 years. And yesterday I'm like, I'm going raspberry, cat eye, magenta, like, and not because it's a trend, it's because this is the energy of me in this moment. Like, I'm very classic and timeless and fabulous and understated, like the French manicure. And I'm also bold and, out there like my raspberry cat eye nails. You get to change your mind. You get to do what is aligned and authentic to you.
I like that. I'm sorry. For some reason, that song, I just imagine like my mom, my sister just singing, I'm every woman, it's all in me. Oh, she gonna see this and she gonna be like, I was actually thinking that. But so the next question that I always end with is gratitude and what you learned. Now, what you learned does not have to be what you learned on this episode, but what you learned today. And then what are you grateful for?
So you're asking me what I learned today? Oh my gosh, what did I learn today?
If you want to start with what you're grateful for, you can.
Okay. I'm so grateful for my husband and his love and support. I'm so grateful for my baby angel. I'm so grateful that I've been given this gift, this godly gift, to be able to help people move out of surviving into like really living the life that's meant for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that the sun is shining. I mean, I feel really grateful for also what's coming, what's next. Like I feel like there's so much magic and so many miracles that are yet to come, and it just makes my heart happy.
I love your choice of words. Like, you're like Tinkerbell, just sprinkling like the fairy dust on everybody when you speak. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
What did you learn today?
I learned that as organized as I am, and I love structure because structure gives me freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I also learned that I'm really, for being really vulnerable and transparent, like I'm really struggling with the staying and the doing the right hard things because there's too many things on the to-do list, and it's easiest to go to the things that'll give me a quick dopamine hit, like highlight when done, like I can check this off my list, but what I really need to be focusing on is this, and I'm avoiding it. So what I've learned is not necessarily a new learning, it's just a re-anchoring in to understanding the parts of me that, you know, are my less than amazing qualities, my weaknesses, the parts that I struggle with, and how can I create systems and structure so that I don't lose my mind and go crazy, and that I accomplish the things that I need to do. And sometimes that means, you know, creating a unicorn team. Who needs to come into my unicorn team and help me
Unicorn team.
this part of my life?
This is what I'm talking about. Like the words you use. A unicorn team. That's what's up.
Yeah. Everybody needs a unicorn team.
Man, my daughter would love talking to you.
Oh,
She
you can call me.
she was hooked on Unicorn Academy. She's 4. She's about to turn 5. I mean, she loves to talk to adults, but I'm telling you, she's been here before. You would think that she's like a teenager, and
Yeah.
it's wild. But with that, I greatly appreciate you. Stay on because I got some more things to say to you. But I'm gonna go ahead and close out with my ending. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hit my gratitude and what I learned. I learned a lot of things today. First of all, I love the fact that she spoke about the PTSD, and she mentioned the being stuck in trauma. That is something that a lot of individuals go through. We all have some type of trauma within us, and a lot of us are stuck in it. Might not even realize that we're stuck in it.
One.
We may end up trauma dumping on people, not realizing what it is that we are doing. We do not understand, or it's our ignorance that has us still repeating these same patterns because we're so focused, just like how she said, we're so focused on what we don't want based off of things that we have gone through. And then we keep manifesting these things into our lives. That right there is the law of attraction and law of vibration. So our mind is focused on what we don't want, but just as she stated, the universe is only hearing what it is, not that we don't want it. So our attention span is on that. That is the law of attraction. We're bringing that into our reality. The law of vibration is exactly the frequency that we are moving on, which is why it's making it easier for these things to find us. So I definitely learned that. I love it, the way that she was able to break that down, because I've read about it, but the way that she said it really put it into perspective to understand. And I got to say that I am grateful to be able to speak with her today, because I talk to a lot of women. I talk to a lot of men. The things that she is saying do not relate just to women. There's a lot of things that she said that I resonated with myself. And I'm sure there's other men who resonate with it also, whether they decide to admit it or not. You ain't got to be, just because you feel the things that she's saying and she's a woman does not make you less of a man. We all go through things. We all hold on to things. So for men, I want to say, us being stuck in trauma, trying to hide it and hold it in does not make you more of a man than anybody else. It's okay for men to cry. And a lot of times we need to let these things go. We need to understand that we are stuck in trauma as a man. We might not say it out loud, but we're thinking about it constantly. And the reason why we're constantly in the gym or out fighting and things like that, especially in my people's situations, is mainly because of the fact that we don't know how to get the help, or there's no one there to be able to help us move away from our mindset, from our reality, because this is what we've always seen, and this is how my father handled his stress. This is how my uncle did. This is how my brother did. And then we mirror that same image and wonder why we have high blood pressure and all these other things that are wrong with us, why we die at such young ages, because we're not managing our trauma in a healthy way. One thing I love is when it comes down to women, I've noticed that there are more women in the world that have the mental health figured out than the men do. And that's because they're not afraid to dive deep into it and figure out what's going on. And Another thing too, DJ Khaled, another one. Another thing too is they have that support. They are not afraid to come together to be able to support one another. Why is it that with us men, We feel that, oh, you weak if you try and lean onto another brother, another man about things that you're going through. It's not bad to ask for help. That's the only way that we are going to get the help and to be able to find different avenues of approach to be able to, in order to beat what it is that we are dealing with. We don't want to just sit and wallow in our pain. We want to heal from it. We don't want to be stuck in our pain. We want to make sure that we move out of it, find ways to not cope with it, heal from it, and then to be able to look back on it, learn the lesson, and then keep on pushing while at the same time possibly be able to pass on that knowledge to others, the same way that Miss Riana Malia was doing. But with that, this was another episode of Divine Time. Relax your mind. It's Divine Time. Deuces.
Yo, are you ready to feed your soul, expand your mind, and hear truth that hits different? Then welcome to Divine Time, the podcast where real conversations meet real transformation. I'm your host, Don the Divine, and every episode is packed with wisdom, healing, and that spark you didn't know you needed. From personal breakthroughs to powerful guest stories, this is the space where we grow, glow, and go deep. If you're feeling the vibe, don't just listen. Follow the show, like the content, share the energy, and most importantly, subscribe so you never miss a divine moment. This is your time, so relax your mind. It's divine time.